So you need to also place, after worship and personal devotion, we place domestic chores and life skills. Let me say life skills, especially in the lines of agriculture, for whatever the age. A little baby can hold a spoon. After eating, they have to take a spoon to the sink. Those are simple things that a little child can do. But you're trying to build something in the mind that you must work. So after establishing worship and devotion, establish a regular domestic chore routine. Routine may mean soon after they eat, they do something. Either they wash their plate, they take their spoon to the sink, or just little chores. They must know that after they do something, they've got to work. So those are the first most important things. Then the next thing is to also establish a play routine. Children love to play, but they learn more as they play. It depends on the type of play you put. So child guidance encourages us to have as little toys as possible. The less the toys we get. Since God we are encouraged to stay in the country, if I were to give a new title to the book, Country Living, I would call it How to Make a Child Happy. So one of the ways that God established a system that makes children have the happiest moments is to have schooling in the country. So if you're staying in the city, try and imitate something as close to the country as possible, especially for play. Children love to be outdoors. They love to have space. They love to play with things that are natural and make things, crafts using the things that are already played. So put sticks, put small rocks, put bricks, place raw materials of some sort that they can use and play with. That will help to establish their minds and teach them order. Instead of having those many toys, mortar, machine, if you get into people's houses, this play area, big play area that overwhelms the child. But if you give them few things that they can use outside, it helps them to have a greater, it improves their concentration, and it helps them to finish what they're doing, unlike having thousands of toys in the house. So playtime we should be deliberate with playtime. Have them know that at such a time they have time to play with the right materials. They don't want a perfectly clean place for only imagination. Throw in things, shimatanda, mapanga, wooden planks, anything that you can find around. Make sure they have rocks, they have sticks, they have leaves, shimakaba, and let them explore. That will help. So constructive play, have a play routine that is constructive. It develops all the faculties. Remember, the true aim of education is to develop the mental, the physical, and the spiritual faculties. Then the next thing to establish, after you've set up worship, devotion, you've set up domestic chores, life skills, you've set up a proper play time and proper material to use for play, you should also put in regular meal time. Probably is the first thing. They should have regular times for eating. That should be done. Also helps in the physical development and the mental development. So establish regular meal times. The child should know that now it's time, now it's 7 o'clock, now it's 2 o'clock, now it's 6 o'clock if they're having 3 meals. At a later time they can have 2 meals. They should have a clock in their system that helps them to know that this is meal time, it is not meal time. It helps them to be well-disciplined children. Then finally, we'll look at the curriculum. Choose a curriculum and use it only as a guide. Choose a curriculum and use it only as a guide. Now, most people have challenges with the curriculum part. Which curriculum are you using? Which curriculum are you using? Remember, a curriculum should meet the objectives of true education. If that curriculum does not meet the objectives of true education, you can manipulate it to meet those aims. Leave out the stuff that do not meet the aims. I'll give you an example of people who are using CC as a choice of curriculum. The new curriculum is a bit different from the old curriculum. But our country allows us to homeschool, and it actually supports. You can register with ZIMSEC board, and then they can give you material to use for a term. You can write, they go and sit for exams. It's quite, it's a good support structure that you can use to teach your children. But the challenge that you face is the curriculum or the content that is there in some subjects is not ideal for children. So as you use that curriculum, you can then manipulate it so that it meets the aims of education. How can you do that? Sometimes the literature that they use may not be ideal. You can decide you can choose other devotional books that you have to meet comprehension, if there's comprehension that you want to teach, or it's adjectives or verbs that you want to look at. If you're looking at a story and you want to find the verbs and adjectives in that story, look for another book. But you're meeting what ZIMSEC wants, at the same time you are preventing your child from being corrupted by the literature. So that's one way you can do it. Then, though sometimes some curriculum is very difficult to use, because at the end of the day, the exams are still question for that. But if you have no choice, try by all means to avoid anything that corrupts the child. In the book Education, it talks about the knowledge of good and evil. When God planted the Garden of Eden, He put a tree. He put two trees, the tree of life and the tree of knowledge of good and evil. It was God's, in His wisdom, He knew that in developing Adam and Eve, it is better that they do not know about evil. So some people say, it's better they know. But God would rather we wait, we hold on to the evil. We hold on to the evil. They can discover it later. But the first years is to build the conscience with good. Build the mind with good, and as less evil or temptation as possible in the school year. So that is why it is advantageous to homeschool than to take a child to an environment filled with things that are negative, and we try and kind of beat them in the evening. It makes the work much harder. So in God's design, He prevented Adam and Eve from knowing evil. But Satan made them. Satan brought in temptation, and they were overcome by temptation. The moment they started to have knowledge of good and evil, things went bad. So it's the same thing with our children. It's not exposure in bed that makes them strong. It's exposure in as much good as possible that will make it easy to defeat sin when they're older. So the first years are the years to build the conscience with much good, with the best environment here. So the choice of the curriculum is very important. Be deliberate, intentional in your choice of literature and the methods that you use. Then another thing is when you use the curriculum as a guide, even the Christian or the Adventist curriculums. I'll give you an example of, say you're using Cambridge or you're using Sonnet or whatever. The child's mind should be your greatest guide. In science, there are six basic topics that a child is taught in primary school, whatever the curriculum. They are meant to know areas in biology, anything that is living, they study living things. They are supposed to have knowledge in physics, why things are there, how do I know the distance from the sun to the earth, how long is it? Physics answers why questions. Then there's chemistry. Then there are areas of the earth and space. That's Cambridge and some curriculums. Now, when you decide to teach your child, say maybe you're teaching electricity. Let me give you an example of physics. You get to a stage where you want to teach electricity. I'm talking about using the child's mind as a guide. I would advise you not to take a curriculum and you say, oh, okay, they should know that an electric circuit has batteries, wires, and a lamp. Then you take that and you teach them that you know there's not people electricity. You use batteries and then you use wires. If you connect the bulb will light. Because the child is saying, wow. And then you move on to something else using the curriculum. You have imparted knowledge, but you have not given it all according to your mind. Whether they are 8, 9, or 10. So when you give a lesson, start from, because you're an advocate, you're a Christian, start from where it all started. Be it maths, be it chemistry, be it physics. If you're going to talk about electricity, it means you're talking about energy, right? So go back to creation so that the child knows that it is God who created raw materials. It is God who created energy. Genesis chapter 1 talks about creation. If you put it in two groups, God created matter and energy. Those are the two things that He created. Genesis entire, Genesis chapter 1 entire. So you have to explain to the child from that point. Start from Genesis chapter 1. Even if you believe in things, biology, start from Genesis chapter 1. If you're going to talk about trees, go back to day 3 when God created trees. So that a child will understand the origin of things. The way we were taught, you don't know where you're coming from and you don't even know where you're going. So always start from the beginning. Remember, God created the heavens and the earth. And then on day 4, He created the trees. Then you start your topic on living things from there. If it's electricity, start from energy. When God created light on day 1, He was creating energy. But on day 4, all these energy systems were stored in the sun. Sun energy is found in matter, in trees, and whatever. That's why if you burn a tree, it produces energy, heat energy. So start from there. Think broadly. And then when you then get to electricity, you also need to find out, have knowledge on matter. Matter is made up of small atoms that contain electrons. Start from there. So when God created everything around us, He was creating matter, and all matter has atoms. Atoms have electrons. When electrons are moving, you take your little 9-year-old, then it starts to move. When electrons are moving, that is electricity. You see how I'm trying to make my point? So always start from the beginning and make it make sense for the child. So this is just one topic. You can do that in any other topic. During worship, when you're learning about Moses, running away from Egypt, going to which place did he go to, by the way? He went to? When he ran away from Egypt, he went to Midian. So you need them to take a map, a globe, right? Then show your child where, despite whether they are doing academics or not, show them where Egypt is. Don't assume they know, they don't. Show them where Egypt is, and then moving from Egypt, going to Midian. Where is Midian? It's another continent. So show them, so that they have a picture of what is going on. That is what helps. You're already looking at geography. And then you're already looking at the different continents that are found in our country, found in the world. And yeah, I'm assuming when you're doing your worship, in the beginning God created the heavens and the earth. They need to know what the earth is. It's got planets, it's got seas. Talk about what is found inside the earth. So that when you look at other areas, it makes sense. So these are some of the things that we're doing. I don't have much time. But basically, when you're choosing a curriculum or when you're teaching a child, use the child's mind as a guide. Give as much information, as much background information as possible, so that it makes sense to the child. And the last thing I'll just mention in the last 2 minutes. Matthew 11 verse 29 says, okay, let me start from 28. Come unto me, all ye that are weary and are heavy laden, 29 says, learn of me, for I am meek and lowly in heart, and you'll find rest teacher resembles or has the character of Christ, then the child can also model from the parents, because they don't, no matter how much we sing about Christ, they don't know who Christ is. It's not there yet in the ears, but the person, the Christ that they can see is us. So we should run away from the temptation of teaching about Christ, having the most beautiful, beautiful visual aids, and making our worship very interesting. All that is good. But when you walk up, when you move away from the worship area, you cease to be Christ. It doesn't make sense. So the most important thing is to learn of Christ. You don't be an effective teacher. You cannot be effective without learning from him. Meekness and lowliness are very, very important. So may God help us. I was trying to summarize and cut, but I just decided to give you the most important things where you can start from if you want to start with this. Is it difficult? Do we have challenges with homeschooling? Yes, a lot. There are challenges. It can be frustrating some days, but if you fail, do not fail. Do not fail with personal devotion. Do not fail with playtime. It's important. Those 6 things that I mentioned, when you fail, if you're not doing it right, these things are very important. And then do not try and learn the way we did. That's one thing you need to unlearn. Because if you use the same methods that we went through, you may not be very successful. So may God help you, and may God enrich you as you go through this time here. But this is all I